always surprises me when I have a lot to talk about with the Superstar because it's such a simple looking shoe, and usually when I have a lot to talk about it's because they've done something wild with the shoe, like the laceless Run DMCs that came out last year for the 50th anniversary year of the Adidas Superstars. But with this one, it's a very simple looking shoe. You'd look at it, it'd be white and black, very standard, that whole Superstar feel to it, very traditional sort of OG look, but there's an absolute bucket load going on in this shoe, and it totally caught me by surprise. Now, yesterday we looked at these Dunk lows right here, and they're called the New York versus New York. I called them the Sunsets, and they took me by surprise. I was really surprised to see that coming down the line. I'd expected different shoes to be coming for New York versus New York, and then along come these Dunks, and I'm just like, whoa, where did those guys come from? And these guys today, they also took me by surprise. I was really not expecting to see them, but for very, very different reasons compared to those Dunks. And what we're talking about is that I've already done this video, but what I already did it about was this right here, and I just assumed that that's all there was just a Lego version of the shoe, you know, an actual physical toy, and we're done here. So much so that I might have had the opportunity 3 weeks ago to get my hands on a pair of these before just about anybody else, and I totally didn't realize it. And what I'm talking about is I went outlet shopping, which isn't a great thing to do in Japan. It's not like in the rest of the world where everything's like 10% and you can get stuff dirt cheap. In Japan, you're lucky if you're getting 10% off. So it's not the experience that I like to think of outlet shopping. But there was a Lego store there, and I did see these the Lego version in that Lego store, and just thought, oh, that's interesting there. But I didn't look closer to see if they actually had these, which is today's shoe, the actual wearable Superstar shoe. And I might have been able to see these guys up close and in hand like 3 weeks ago, which would have been very, very early. But going back to those actual Lego shoes that I did see in the store, you know, the toy, not the wearable thing, I made this huge thing about the video about them. I made this huge kind of thing about saying these are not wearable, they're not a real shoe. The only thing that's actually real on these is the laces. I think it said, it was like, this isn't wearable, this isn't wearable, this isn't wearable. And then here we are today talking about the Lego Superstar that is very much wearable. And the other thing about those toy Legos Superstars is that, as I saw in the store in the outlet mall, was that they came with multiple sort of colorways, lots of variation in the Lego that was in the pack for you to buy and take home and make, which I didn't realize when I made that video. I was just talking about a white shoe with black detailing on it. And then, like I said, surprised to see these guys coming around. It's July the 30th they're due to drop on, and today I think is July the 15th. This video will probably go up on July 17th, so we're 13 days ahead of the drop date, which is stretching it. I like to be about 10 days ahead of the drop date, but that's the way it's just sort of come about that this is the shoe that we're doing today. So so let's get into it and have a look at it and go. What we're going to do is we're going to go front to back, and I'm going to show you the detail on these guys. I was actually quite surprised at how much detail there is in them. Again, going back to that, looking at the whole shoe, you think it's a very simple looking shoe and a very standard looking Superstar with a couple of maybe little hits of Lego on there, but you get in close to it and there's a lot more going on. I'm going to take you through all of that right now. So we'll start at the front. We'll start at the front with that classic Adidas Superstar shell toe. And I think they could have done a bit more with this, to be honest, because it just looks too much Lego and not enough shell, if you know what I'm saying. There's no lines in there to delineate sort of the shell design. They're usually coming out of the laces and sort of fanning out to give it that shell feel, and that's not there at all. It's very much the Lego that's at play in here, and I'm sure it's made of rubber. I never really thought about that until I was just saying that right now. I think the design looks like Lego, but I'm sure it's actually made of rubber and not solid plastic, if you know what I'm saying. But I was looking for a little bit more on there than just the Lego. I was looking for a little bit more of the design of the shell toe, which is the signature feature of these shoes. So that was a sort of place to start, go and look at, and sort of like, okay, there's a bit more to that than I was expecting, and the more is that it was more Lego and less shell to me. And then coming back from that, we get to the lateral side, and there's actually like 3 or 4 things going on here when I only thought there was one. And we'll start with the first of those, and what we're talking about is the 3-stripe branding down the side in this black. And the thing that was what stood out to me, and I just sort of thought, you know, that's interesting. Jagged edge, so you've got that square feel, just like you would have with Lego, but then you zoom in on it and you see it's actually textured in exactly the same way that the top of a Lego block would be. So it's not just the physical shape of the three-stripe branding on the side, but also the texture and the design of the three-stripe branding. So that's a major point, and it's a double. It's more than I was expecting to see in the three-stripe branding. I thought I'd just see the jagged edges, but actually the texture on it, which hopefully you're looking at on the green screen here, represents the top of the Lego block. And that's where I thought we were done on the lateral side, but there's two more hits behind that. And the first one is the classic Superstar branding, which you usually see running parallel to the three-stripe brands in gold, which you do see here. But instead of just being a print on the surface of the leather, what it is embedded in there. And again, I think at either end of the word Superstar, you see those Lego block fobs that gives you that sense that it's a plastic insert into the shoe with the gold Superstar writing on it, more than just saying the gold Superstar on there. So again, this is another feature on the shoe where I was expecting a little less, and I got a little bit more than I was looking to get. And then back from that, is one of my favorite details on the shoe is the jagged edge stitching line that runs from the high part of the shoe and down towards the midsole part of the shoe. And I think they've exaggerated that quite a lot, and again that's to give that Lego feel, those square right angles instead of curves, or you know, and it's got that idea in there that this is a Lego shoe, and it gives you an additional sense of the right angles and the sort of geometric shape of the shoe. So like I say, looking at the three-stripe branding, I was just expecting to talk about the three black stripes on there, and I'm just happy to see a whole lot more, especially in that Superstar branding and the stitching that goes along side that Superstar branding. And then we get to the last sort of obvious detail on the shoe, which is the heel. Very reminiscent and very much matches the three-stripe branding on the side in the same sort of black, with the surface area of a Lego block, the top end of a Lego block on there, but more than the stripes on the side, on the back of the shoe you now also have the trefoil branding that pops out of that Lego panel right on the back there. So it's a little bit more again than I was expecting to see. And then the final thing to do in terms of Lego is look down from above at two things. One is a little sort of hint at the tongue branding. There's not much going on in there. I don't see anything special in there that's pointed at Lego, but it is half covered up by the laces, so I don't know if there's more going on there than I can see. And the other thing is the insole itself. Great to see it in yellow, which is very much a classic Lego branding colour, and then side by side you've got the trefoil Adidas branding and the Lego branding that represents the whole shoe. So it's a great way to finish off the sort of Lego side of the shoe. And the final thing to do in this video to finish off the whole shoe is to look at the outsole, because that isn't at all Lego. It's your very much standard Superstar all white front to back outsole on these guys, and there's nothing in there to give you a trace of Lego. I was kind of looking for something. I thought it might be something that they could build the tread in there with the kind of surface area of a Lego or something along those lines, but they didn't go for that. Instead they just stuck with your standard Superstar outsole, especially in colours and construction. And that's a great way to finish this one up. So hopefully you guys appreciated that look at this shoe, and you kind of followed the whole narrative and the whole story. I was all just totally focused over there on the toy versions of these and thought that that was it. And I suppose it makes sense, and I probably should have realised there would be an actual sneaker version to come along to complement those toys. But it's a great sort of story, a great collaboration between Lego and Adidas, and a great sort of vibe if you're into your toys or if you're into your sneakers. It's a great overlap between those two huge worlds. So happy to bring this video to you guys today and sort of complement it with that toy video that we did already. And with that being said, it's time to wrap this one up. Just another video in the bag, so I'm just going to sign off and do the same thing that I do at the end of every single video, is just finish it up real quickly. We're done with the shoe, no yakking or sticking around or gas bagging on. It's just straight out of here. Thank you guys for checking out the content, and just remind you that I do this every single day, and because I do this every single day, that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.